Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Coming up in the next hour, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of multiple development projects in national capital Delhi. India's Health Ministry convenes high-level meet amid reports of HMPV outbreak in China, says India well prepared to handle respiratory illnesses. At least 8 Pakistani security personnel killed in Balochistan bomb blast. Austria's Chancellor Karl Nehammer to step down after talks on forming a new government fail. And in Sydney, Australia beat India by 6 wickets to reclaim Border-Gavaskar Trophy, also secure World Test Championship final spot. News in detail now. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi will inaugurate and lay the foundation for development projects worth over $147 million in Delhi today. Among the key projects, PM Modi will inaugurate the 13-kilometer Delhi-Ghaziabad Meerut Namo Bharat corridor worth approximately $55.42 million, which will enhance regional connectivity between Delhi and Meerut. With this inauguration, Delhi will get its first Namo Bharat connectivity. This will significantly ease travel between Delhi and Meerut and will benefit millions of people through high-speed and comfortable travel along with unmatched safety and reliability. PM Modi will also ride in the metro Namo Bharat train from Saibabad RRTS station to New Ashoknagar. Prime Minister will also inaugurate a 2.8-kilometer stretch of Delhi Metro Phase 4 between Janakpuri and Krishna Park, valued at $14.46 million. Additionally, the Prime Minister will also lay the foundation stone for the 26.5-kilometer Rithala Kundli section of Delhi Metro Phase 4 worth $74.98 million, improving connectivity in Delhi and Haryana. Furthermore, he will lay the foundation for a new state-of-the-art building for Central Ayurveda Research Institute in Rohini, costing $2.23 million. And India's Health Ministry on Saturday convened a joint monitoring group meeting in view of HMPV outbreak causing rising cases of respiratory illnesses in China in the past few weeks. The ministry said it is closely monitoring the situation in China through all available channels, and the World Health Organization has also been requested to share timely updates regarding the situation in China. The ministry further said that India is well prepared to handle respiratory illnesses and surveillance shows no unusual surge. It said the health systems and surveillance networks remain vigilant, ensuring the country is ready to respond promptly to any emerging health challenges. Now, French Navy aircraft carrier Charles de Gaulle arrived at Western India's Mormugao Port Trust Jetty in Goa on Saturday. French Carrier Strike Group is making its stopover in India as part of its mission Clemenceau 25. During the mission, the Charles de Gaulle CSG and Indian Navy will hold 42nd annual Varun bilateral exercise. The aim of this aero-naval training is to develop interoperability between the two navies and to prepare crews to deal with the multi-milieu threat as part of a coalition. Now, India and Bangladesh are likely to exchange 185 fishermen and their vessels detained in their respective countries today. Dhaka agreed to hand over 95 Indian fishermen to Indian authorities. In a reciprocal repatriation process, India too agreed to release 90 Bangladeshi fishermen detained in India. Besides 2 Bangladeshi fishing vessels detained in India and 6 Indian fishing boats detained in Bangladesh will also be exchanged. Earlier on Thursday, Bangladeshi authorities released 95 Indian fishermen who were held in Bagerhat and Patuakhali district jails and handed over to the Bangladesh Coast Guards to carry out the repatriation process. The 95 Indian fishermen were in Bangladesh jails for more than 2 months. All right, we'll go across to Bangladesh. DD India's Naval Singh Parmar is joining us on the phone line. Naval Singh, likely release of fishermen by India and Bangladesh today. What more details do you have? When is the process expected to be completed?
Yes, as per the sources of Foreign Ministry of Bangladesh, today the process of repatriation and exchange of the fishermen of India and Bangladesh will be held in Bay of Bengal at the international maritime border. 90 fishermen of Bangladesh who were in Indian custody. Out of that, 78 were held by Indian Coast Guard in December last year, while they were in fishing in the Indian maritime zone, and they were handed over to Paradip in Odisha. Fishing vessels Leila 2 and fishing vessels Meghna 5 of Bangladesh were held by the Indian Coast Guard in December last year, while the 12 fishermen of Bangladesh who were held by Indian authorities while their fishing vessels capsized in mid-sea, and the Indian Coast Guard rescued them, and they were sent to the Kakdip of West Bengal to the local authorities. These 90 fishermen of Bangladesh will be released by the Indian authorities, and in exchange, Bangladesh will release the 95 Indian fishermen and 5 fishing boats of Indian fishermen. Already, Bangladesh authority have released them from the jail and handed over to the Coast Guard of Bangladesh, and the repatriation process, exchange process between the two Coast Guard will help today. It is expected.
Okay, Naval Singh, also much effort has been put into coordinating this entire process through relevant sections from the country's different ministries, including foreign, home, fisheries and others. You think this exercise will add another chapter to bilateral relations between the two countries, India and Bangladesh?
Yes, considering the humanitarian ground, both the government, after the visit of Indian Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri last month on December 10th, 9th and 10th, they agreed for the repatriation of the fishermen considering the humanitarian ground. So it will definitely ink another chapter of the bilateral relation between the two countries and cooperation. Yes.
All right, Naval Singh, thank you for getting us those updates from Bangladesh. Moving on, Prayagraj in India's northern state of Uttar Pradesh is ready to welcome devotees and pilgrims to the Maha Kumbh Mela from January 13th to February 26th. Maha Kumbh is one of Hinduism's most significant and holy events held once every 12 years. It is the world's largest spiritual congregation, drawing millions of devotees from across the globe. The Maha Kumbh is considered an auspicious period for spiritual cleansing and devotion. Pilgrims flock to the renowned Sangam, which is the confluence of Ganga, Yamuna and Saraswati rivers, to take the holy dip. All preparations are in place by the government to ensure a divine and secure experience at Maha Kumbh 2025. Now let's take a look at other stories making news. 426-meter long steel bridge built over the Ganga River in Phaphamau has been completed ahead of the Maha Kumbh Mela 2025. The bridge, constructed using 4,500 tons of steel, was built in a record 45 days for the magnificent Maha Kumbh Mela. The bridge aims to facilitate smooth traffic flow for devotees attending the Maha Kumbh Mela. It will provide an alternative route, allowing vehicles to bypass the city and directly access the Mela site from the riverfront road. The Indian Railway successfully conducted the first trial run on the Katra-Banihal section ahead of the final statutory safety inspection next week to determine the commencement of rail services to Kashmir. The first train run thrilled passengers as it traversed snow-covered mountains, blending nature's splendor with engineering excellence. The Indian Navy presented a spectacular display of its prowess and valour at Ramakrishna Beach in the port city of Visakhapatnam in Andhra Pradesh on Saturday. The coastline buzzed with fighter jets, warships, helicopters and tankers. The rescue operations, including combat demonstrations to save hostages from terrorists and rescuing people stranded at sea with the help of helicopters, fascinated the visitors. Paratroopers also amazed the spectators by unfurling the Indian flag and the Navy flag from a height of approximately 8,000 feet. Now, nestled in the heart of northeast India's Guwahati lies a serene lake surrounded by rolling hills, lush greenery and the rich tribal cultural heritage of Assam, Chandubi Lake. Every year, this picturesque location transforms into a vibrant centre of a celebration during the much-awaited Chandubi festival. A report by our correspondent Momita Biswas.
So currently we are at a majestic place of Assam, which is just 30 kilometers away from the city Guwahati, that is Chandubi. And we are here to show you a beautiful festival which is named after the place Chandubi.
Chandubi Lake is a serene and scenic freshwater lake located in the Kamrup district of Assam and is approximately 35 kilometers from Guwahati. It is nestled at the foothills of the Garo Hills, where tribals from different communities come together and celebrate the Chandubi festival.
बिल के आसपास में जो जनगोष्ठियाँ हैं, राभा हैं, बोरो हैं, आदिवासी हैं, गारो लोग हैं, थोड़ा अदर कास्ट भी हैं, तो इसका जो कल्चर है उसको बचाना है, उसको डेवलप करना है, अपलिफ्ट करना है, तो इसीलिए हम चांदुबी फेस्टिवल का आयोजन किया था। यहाँ एग्जीबिशन भी है हमारा, जो लोकली प्रोडक्ट करते हैं, जो लोग बनाते हैं, बम्बो के कपड़ के मगरा बनाते हैं, उसमें एग्जीबिशन कम सेल होते हैं। तो हम चाहते हैं कि असम के सारे लोग यहाँ आए और हमारा फेस्टिवल एंजॉय कीजिए।
The festival, which starts every year from the 1st of January, celebrates the natural beauty, local traditions and heritage of the area. As the sun sets over the lake, the air fills with the sounds of traditional Assamese music, which showcases Assamese and tribal folk dance, traditional music, local handicrafts, and local cuisines. The lake, with its crystal clear water and abundant wildlife, offers the perfect backdrop for boating and exploration. It is here that people come to connect with nature, to reflect and to inspire.
I am from basically Sipsagar. It is a very good and wonderful experience. Yeah, that the nature is very beautiful, and that water lily was very good. People who say meet over here, this is very good.
The peaceful ambience and the cultural significance of Chandubi make it a must-visit destination for nature lover and adventure seekers.
Whether we are boating in the lake or participating in the festival or just having some scenic beauty, Chandubi festival has many things to offer. And when a festival like this, where different tribal communities come together, attracts more tourists towards this beautiful destination. With camera person Pankaj, this is Momita Biswas for DD India.
Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. Antony Blinken in South Korea to meet senior officials there. US is set to approve $8 billion arms deal with Israel, highlighting its ongoing support amidst the conflict. And Kiev's halt of Russian gas throws Moldova into crisis. Moldova breakaway region faces extended blackouts.
Goa, an adventure paradise like none other. From lush forests to rugged hills, from pristine ocean beach stretches to stunning lakes, there is something to explore in every corner of the state. And some adventures are wilder than others. Watch postcards from Goa on National Geographic.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Austria's Conservative Chancellor Karl Nehammer announced his resignation after coalition talks with the Social Democrats and Liberals collapsed on Saturday. Efforts to form a government without the far-right Freedom Party, which is FPO, which won September's election with 29% of the vote, fell apart amid deep divisions. Nehammer, who called FPO leader Herbert Kickl a conspiracy theorist, refused to partner with the party despite their shared stance on immigration. With no majority coalition possible, Austria faces two stark options: allow Kickl to attempt forming a government or call snap elections. The Conservative People's Party, meeting Sunday to choose Nehammer's successor, may now consider rekindling ties with the controversial FPO.
Following the breakdown of talks, I will act as following. I will step down as Federal Chancellor and also as a Chairman of the People's Party in the next few days and facilitate an orderly transition. This orderly transition is particularly important to me because I have always stood for stability in our country and in People's Party.
Now, Israeli military operations in Gaza continue as Hamas seeks a permanent ceasefire with indirect negotiations ongoing in Doha. Israel also defended its raid on North Gaza hospital at the United Nations, citing evidence of terror activity. Meanwhile, the US is set to approve $8 billion arms deal with Israel, highlighting its ongoing support amidst the conflict. More in this report.
Israeli military operations in Gaza continue as Hamas announced a renewed focus on reaching a permanent ceasefire. The new round of indirect negotiations, which resumed in Doha on Friday, aims to finalize a deal. However, despite year-long talks, a ceasefire between Hamas and Israel remains elusive. On Thursday, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu authorized a delegation to continue the talks, though he ruled out a permanent end to the war. Israel had defended its raid on Kamal Adwan Hospital in northern Gaza, claiming it had irrefutable evidence that Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad militants were operating there. However, United Nations Human Rights Chief Volker Turk criticized Israel's justification as unsubstantiated and vague. The hospital, which has been at the center of the controversy, denied these allegations.
In most instances, Israel alleges that the hospitals were being improperly used for military purposes by Palestinian armed groups. I've in fact just received a letter from the Israeli ambassador asserting that Kamal Adwan Hospital was militarized by Hamas and that Israeli forces took extraordinary measures to protect civilian life while acting on credible intelligence. Yet, Israel has not provided sufficient information to substantiate many of these claims, which are often vague and broad.
As the search continues for those responsible for the October 7, 2023 terror attacks, the Israeli army maintains its operations in Gaza's hospitals and refugee centers, which it believes are hiding places for gunmen. Meanwhile, the Biden administration has notified Congress of a proposed $8 billion arms deal with Israel, including fighter jet ammunitions, artillery shells, and air defense systems. While some supplies can come from US stockpiles, most will take over a year to be delivered. Meanwhile, heavy rains in Gaza have worsened the misery of displaced people, flooding and damaging their makeshift tents amid the ongoing conflict. Floodwaters have risen by over 30 centimeters in some areas, leaving people exposed to the cold and damaging shelters. The ceasefire deal to end the conflict between Israel and Hezbollah took effect a month ago. However, the conflict in Gaza shows no signs of slowing down as Israel continues its military actions. Rabindra Chauhan's report for DD India.
And relatives of hostages held by Hamas protested in Tel Aviv on Saturday, rejecting a partial ceasefire deal and demanded a comprehensive agreement that would secure the release of all hostages. The protest was attended by former Defence Minister Yoav Gallant, who resigned from Parliament earlier this week. The protest came as Hamas released a new video showing a female hostage alive in an attempt to urge Israel into doing more to secure the hostages' release.
I think that getting back the hostages is probably one of the most important missions of the government of Israel. I'm fully aware for all the other goals and achievements in different areas of our security campaign, but this is probably the most important one, getting them back home. And I hope the Prime Minister Netanyahu will do what he has to do, getting them back home.
The relatives of hostages Nama Weinberg and Zahiro Shahar Mord expressed their desire to end 456 days of captivity with a comprehensive deal to bring all their loved ones home.
Like every Saturday evening, we come to the rally to call for our loved ones who are still in captivity. My father, Gadi Moses, is still there 456 days. We got the movie for Liri Elbag, and as much as I'm happy for the family to see her alive, it's very concerning to see her status and not knowing about all the others. So we really hope that the delegation that went to the conversation will get to some agreement and we'll see all our loved ones as soon as possible. And no one will put more obstacles to fail the negotiations, and we'll get to agreement.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is on a trip to South Korea, Japan and France. Blinken's trip is happening at a crucial time when South Korea is facing a political crisis. On Friday, South Korea's presidential guards and military troops prevented authorities from arresting impeached President Yoon, who is under criminal investigation for insurrection over his failed martial law bid. During his visit to South Korea, Secretary Blinken will meet with senior government officials to discuss ways to promote a free, open and prosperous Indo-Pacific region, as well as trilateral efforts with Japan. In France, the top U.S. diplomat will discuss challenges in West Asia and Europe amid ongoing efforts to secure a ceasefire in Gaza. In South Korea, tens of thousands of protesters gathered in the capital Seoul to rally for and against arresting impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol. Despite heavy snow, protests took place on adjacent streets in the Hanam-dong neighborhood close to Yoon's official presidential residence. Some protesters wrapped themselves in foil blankets to brave the cold. The demonstrations continued from Saturday with similar rallies drawing large crowds. Meanwhile, investigators have again asked that the country's acting president to comply with the arrest warrant.
For last 1 week, impeached President Yoon Suk Yeol has been evading arrest after he declared martial law for a brief time. South Korean investigators again urged the country's acting president to order the Presidential Security Service to comply with an arrest warrant for Yoon. Corruption investigating officials said, and I quote, "It was virtually impossible to execute the arrest warrant due to the ongoing standoff." Meanwhile, die-hard supporters and opponents of impeached President Yeol rallied near the presidential residence.
What kind of situation is this country suffering right now? 8 years ago, they unjustly removed President Park Geun-hye, and now they are trying to remove President Yoon as well, based on absurd charges. There is no issue if the emergency martial law was declared by the head of state.
A month-long political meltdown has not only thrown Korean politics into turmoil, but surfaced the country's deep political polarization by dueling protest movements. Now take a look at what could happen next. The Corruption Investigation Office may attempt to execute the arrest warrant for Yoon again before the January 6 deadline. If Yoon is arrested before that date, the CIO will have 48 hours to either request a new warrant for his formal arrest or release him. But Yoon's lawyers have repeatedly said that the warrant issued by the court is unlawful and illegal. South Korea's constitutional court has up to 180 days to determine whether to dismiss Yoon as president or restore his powers. Bureau Report, DD India.
At least 8 security personnel were killed and 40 others injured in a suicide bomb blast in Balochistan province of Pakistan. The blast, which took place in the Dang area of Turbad city on Saturday, targeted a passenger van and a police security vehicle adjacent to the van. Following the blast, police and security forces reached the incident site and cordoned off the area while the injured were moved to the nearest hospital. The separatist group Baluch Liberation Army has claimed responsibility for the attack. The latest attack is part of an ongoing series of attacks by the BLA in Balochistan, which have been targeting military convoys, security checkposts and police vehicles. In a deepening energy crisis, residents of Moldova's Bekwe Transnistria region face escalating power cuts after Russian gas flows through Ukraine halted on New Year's Day. The halt follows Kiev's refusal to renew a transit deal with Russia, leaving Transnistria's thermal power plant without fuel to generate electricity. Without gas from Gazprom to fuel its thermal plant, Transnistria has extended rolling blackouts to 4 hours daily, leaving homes without heating as temperatures plunge to -10 degrees Celsius. Industries have shut down, sparing only food production as officials urge residents to conserve resources. Moldova, reliant on Transnistria's power plant for cheap electricity, blames Russia for the chaos, demanding gas rerouted through Turk Stream. Moscow, however, points fingers at Kiev for the impasse. Meanwhile, Transnistria's vital power supply to Moldova remains precariously disrupted. Now, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky revealed heavy losses among Russian and North Korean forces battling in Russia's Kursk region. In his nightly address, Zelensky described fierce battles along the 1,000-kilometer front line, with the most intense fighting near Pokrovsk. Western and Ukrainian reports estimate 11,000 North Korean troops are stationed in Kursk. Zelensky highlighted clashes near the village of Makhnovka, close to Ukraine's border.
The commander-in-chief also reported on the situation in the Kursk region, especially in battles yesterday and today near just one village, Magnivka, in the Kursk region. The Russian army lost up to a battalion of North Korean infantry, soldiers and Russian paratroopers. This is significant.
Now, Russia claimed on Saturday to have intercepted 8 US-made missiles and downed 72 drones while capturing a settlement in Luhansk. The Russian Ministry of Defense also reported multiple strikes on Ukrainian military sites, resulting in over 540 casualties and the loss of 4 tanks for Ukraine. Meanwhile, Ukraine reported successfully repelling Russian attacks in Kharkiv, Pokrovsk and Kursk, with several clashes still ongoing. Ukrainian forces also fended off 9 Russian attacks in Kursk. In a significant development, U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken revealed that U.S. had been supplying weapons to Ukraine since 2021, fueling tensions with Russia, which condemned NATO's military support. As Ukraine faces mounting challenges, Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal announced a record defense budget and plans for increased military production. Moving on, U.S. President Joe Biden has awarded 19 individuals with the Presidential Medal of Freedom, the country's highest civilian honor. Prominent awardees include diplomat Hillary Clinton, singer and activist Bono, basketball legend Irvin Magic Johnson, actors Michael J. Fox and Denzel Washington, among others. The award was presented at a White House ceremony on Saturday. The Presidential Medal of Freedom recognizes individuals' contributions to national security, world peace, culture and other significant societal, public or private endeavors. Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. The 82nd edition of Golden Globes is scheduled to take place on Sunday, kicking off the 2025 awards festivities. America's final salute to Jimmy Carter begins in home state of Georgia. And unprecedented weather events create a challenging situation for people across the globe. We'll get you the weather updates after the break.
The delicate balance between human and animal coexistence has become a growing problem. Finding sustainable ways to coexisting together and thriving in a rapidly changing environment.
Tell them not to panic. Instead, they should just stand completely still and let the lions walk past peacefully. This is how we show respect to the animal and in turn gain its trust.
After the plantation of lemon trees, the elephants stopped entering the fields. They pass by the field boundaries without entering.
Poaching gangs and trafficking gangs that go after these elephants and capture them, things like that. And that's something that we are all up against.
We should try to modify the human behavior through education and awareness.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. Recap of what we've done so far. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi to inaugurate and lay foundation stone of multiple development projects in national capital Delhi. India's Health Ministry convenes high-level meet amid reports of HMPV outbreak in China, says India well prepared to handle respiratory illnesses. At least 8 Pakistani security personnel killed in Balochistan bomb blast. Austria's Chancellor called Nehammer to step down after talks on forming a new government fail. And in Sydney, Australia beat India by 6 wickets to reclaim Border-Gavaskar Trophy, also secure World Test Championship final spot. Former US President Jimmy Carter's state funeral began on Saturday with solemn ceremonies in his home state of Georgia, marking the start of 6 days of tributes to the late leader who passed away on December 29 at the age of 100. Motorcade with mortal remains of Carter arrived at Georgia's state capital, where dignitaries welcomed his family. The casket was then taken to the Carter Presidential Library, received by a military honor guard. Emotional tributes from his son James Chip Carter and grandson Jason Carter reflected on his life and enduring spirit. The mortal remains of the former president will be taken to Washington, D.C. on Tuesday. Following Tuesday's service in Washington, Carter will be laid to rest in a private ceremony in Plains, Georgia.
He was an amazing man, and he was held up and propped up and soothed by an amazing woman. And the two of them together changed the world. And it was an amazing thing to watch from so close and to be able to be involved in. And I thank you for your service.
It was important for all of us that we stop here. These buildings, as you all know, are filled with his life, not just because this is a museum to his life, and not just because there's a collection here of his beloved paintings, but his spirit fills this place.
The last contingent of security forces from Guatemala, comprising 75 military police members, has arrived in Haiti to reinforce the ongoing multinational security support mission. This deployment is part of Guatemalan President Bernardo Aravalo's pledge to send 150 military police made in September last year. The mission, led by Kenya, has seen deployments from several countries, including 400 police from Kenya, 24 personnel from Jamaica and 2 senior officers from Belize, with El Salvador sending 8 soldiers for medical evacuation operations. Despite these efforts, the mission has struggled to prevent gangs from taking new territories and committing massacres, causing thousands of people to flee their homes due to escalating violence. Haiti's national police have meanwhile lost thousands of officers in recent years. Now, Venezuelan opposition leader Edmund Gonzalez, who is on a multi-country trip to Latin America, was welcomed by Argentine President Javier Milei during his first stop. Gonzalez later traveled to Uruguay and met President Luis Lasalpo, seeking his support. Gonzalez's tour comes days ahead of the planned inauguration of President Nicolas Maduro on January 10th. The opposition claims Gonzalez won the July elections, accusing Maduro of electoral fraud. Meanwhile, Gonzalez has repeatedly said he plans to return to Venezuela to take presidency despite a pending warrant for alleged conspiracy and a $100,000 reward for information leading to his arrest. Edmund Gonzalez has been living in Spain after a warrant was issued for his arrest. Weather news now. Updates on Indian weather first. The India Met Department has forecast light to moderate rainfall and snowfall over Jammu and Kashmir, Ladakh and Himachal Pradesh today. Scattered rainfall or snowfall is also expected over Uttarakhand tomorrow. For the higher reaches of Kashmir is under red alert till Monday. The IMD has also predicted isolated rainfall accompanied with thunderstorms over Punjab, Haryana, Chandigarh and northwest Uttar Pradesh in the coming 2 days. The Indian Weather Agency also predicted a gradual rise in minimum temperatures by 2 to 3 degrees Celsius over northwest India the next 3 days. It also said that there will be no significant change in minimum temperatures over central and east India during the next 3 days. All right, we'll go across to North India, Shimla now, where DD India's Muskan Chaudhary is joining us live. Good morning, Muskan. Shimla recorded its highest ever January maximum temperature, breaking the previous high set in 2006 and second highest minimum temperature for January too. Tell us, how are the weather conditions there and is it expected to dip further?
Abhishek, this is that time of the year when Himachal Pradesh mountain should be covered with the snow sheet. But considering the past 5 days, the weather has been clear, which has resulted in a significant rise in temperature. And yesterday in Shimla, it was recorded the highest temperature. It was 23 degrees Celsius, which was the highest temperature in the past 19 years. And there was similar situation in other districts like Solan, where the temperature was between 23 to 29 degrees. So it is very concerning because Himachal Pradesh is a state which depends on farming, and the 5% of GDP of the state comes from farming. So not only localites but the farmers of the state are hoping for a good weather. But according to the state meteorological department, they have issued a forecast according to which there will be snowfall and rainfall across the state in the coming days. And they have issued a prediction of snowfall in 5 districts, which include Kangra, Chamba, Lahaul Spiti and Kinnaur, and orange alert for rainfall and snowfall on 6 January across the state. So we are hoping that weather will take a turn and we will finally receive a snowfall.
Muskan, like you said, Himachal Pradesh is expected to receive snow and rain in the coming days, Sunday and Monday specifically, and people generally come out in big number to see the snowfall, especially from nearby areas. Is that the case in Shimla too?
Abhishek, tourists are preferring more places like Manali and Lahaul Spiti because these places are covered with the snow right now. If I'm talking about Shimla, Shimla is very much dry. There are no snow on the mountains. So people are, especially tourists who are coming to see the snowfall, they're traveling towards the upper region of the state because the Lahaul Spiti and the Sisu and Rohtang tunnel, these areas are covered with the snow. So there are the tourist flow is very much high right now in these areas specifically.
All right, Muskan, we'll leave it at that. Thank you for inputs. Unprecedented weather events are creating a challenging situation for people across the globe. From the United States, United Kingdom to Kazakhstan, all are reeling under extreme cold weather, and Maldives is facing a flood-like situation. These severe weather patterns across different continents underscore the global scale of climate-related challenges impacting millions of individuals worldwide. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay brings us this report.
Winter storm was seen across parts of the United States and Canada. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration issued an alert on Friday warning a major winter storm that will bring snow and ice from the Central Plains to the mid-Atlantic until Monday. The US weather company AccuWeather has predicted that some 250 million people will feel frigid air across 40 states in the next week, and there is a risk of widespread power outages and increased natural gas demand due to cold weather. A cold Arctic blast has swept into the UK, bringing widespread frost and more snow to parts of Scotland. The whole of England is under amber health alerts, meaning there is a risk to a rise in deaths. Local authorities are urging people to avoid going out early in the morning when the frost is thick. In Kazakhstan, a severe snowstorm and poor visibility caused a pileup of at least 30 vehicles on a highway linking capital Astana with the city of Chuchukinsk. Emergency services evacuated stranded drivers and passengers while other teams cleared the damaged vehicles. In Maldives, flooding caused by heavy rainfall was seen in capital Malé on Friday as the northeast monsoon swept into the island nation in the Indian Ocean. The Maldives Met Office officially announced the onset of the northeast monsoon, marking a seasonal shift in weather patterns across the country. With inputs from Rahul Upadhyay, Shagnik Chakraborty for DD India.
While many countries are facing bone-chilling cold, Southeast Australia, on the other part of the globe, sweated in a heat wave that intensified on Sunday. The scorching heat wave elevated bushfire risk and prompting authorities to issue fire bans for more parts of Victoria State. Australia is in the grips of high-risk bushfire season, with firefighters last week battling a large blaze that ripped through Victoria's Grampians National Park, razing homes and farmland. The nation's weather forecaster warned that temperatures could reach 45 degrees Celsius in some parts of Australia's second most populous state of Victoria on Sunday. The mercury in state capital Melbourne was forecast to hit 38 degrees Celsius. The states of Western Australia, New South Wales and Tasmania were also under heatwave warnings on Sunday. Australia's last few fire seasons have been quite compared with the catastrophic 2019-20 Black Summer of wildfires that destroyed an area the size of Turkey, killing 33 people and billions of animals. Now, Russia has declared a regional state of emergency on Saturday in Crimea as workers cleared tons of contaminated sand and earth on either side of the Kerch Strait following an oil spill in the Black Sea last month. The Kerch Strait runs between the Black Sea and the Sea of Azov and separates Crimea's Kerch Peninsula from Russia's Krasnodar region. Rescue workers have so far cleared more than 86,000 metric tons of contaminated sand and soil. The oil leaked from two aging tankers that were hit by a storm on December 15. One sank and the other ran aground. More than 10,000 people have been working to shovel up vicious, foul-smelling fuel oil from sandy beaches in and around Anapa, a summer resort. Environmental groups have reported deaths of dolphins, porpoises and seabirds. Now, UNESCO has declared the living pictures of Galeras, Colombia, an intangible cultural heritage, recognizing this unique tradition that brings the streets of municipality to life with motionless artistic scenes. The tradition transforms everyday spaces into an open-air gallery where residents, young and old, recreate religious, historical and everyday moments using people, objects and natural elements. Crafted with recycled materials, the living pictures also emphasize sustainability. The recent UNESCO recognition marks a significant milestone for Galeras, validating the tradition's cultural importance and boosting its global visibility. The declaration is expected to attract tourists while inspiring future generations to preserve this vibrant art form, which unites the community and showcases Galeras' resilience and cultural richness. Now, let's take a look at other stories making news around the world. Chile's President Gabriel Boric has become the first leader in the Americas to visit the South Pole after arriving at a U.S. base there. Boric said his visit underlined Chile's determination to play a key role in scientific projects in the area, especially those involving climate change. Boric travelled with a group of scientists and several cabinet members, including ministers for the armed forces and the environment. Myanmar's military government announced the release of 1,000 prisoners, including Rohingya people, to mark Independence Day from Britain. Junta announced the release of 5,864 prisoners, including 180 foreigners from the jail in Yangon. Among those still imprisoned by the junta is the country's former leader and Nobel laureate Aung San Suu Kyi. Extreme cold gripped Hulun Buir city, North China's Inner Mongolia Autonomous Region, with some areas experiencing temperatures as low as 40 degrees Celsius below zero. The mercury dipped to minus 30 degrees Celsius in many urban areas of Ergun city. Additionally, a section of the Yellow River, the country's second longest river in Bayanur city of Inner Mongolia, has entered its frozen period and closed to traffic from 8 a.m. Friday. The annual water birth census began in Nepal on Saturday. It will span 2 weeks, covering lakes, ponds, rivers and wetlands. The census aims to collect data on the population, species and habitat conditions of water birds. Asian Water Bird Census, a key program to monitor water birds, was initiated by Wetlands International in 1987. Initially conducted in regions like Afghanistan, Japan, South Asia and Australia, Nepal has actively participated in the program since its inception. The tradition of appreciating beautiful lanterns has kept China's lantern workshops busy in the last lunar month in the run-up to the Year of the Snake. In Guangzhou, city of East China's Fujian province, a special lantern show was staged on Friday night. A 100-meter-long golden snake-shaped boat made with 2,025 lanterns sailed on the river, stopping residents and tourists passing by to watch and pray. Now, the 82nd edition of Golden Globes is scheduled to take place on Sunday, kicking off the 2025 awards festivities. Films such as Wicked, The Brutalist and Emilia Perez will be competing for trophies and attention ahead of the Oscars. DD India's Diptanshu Kashyap reports.
The 2025 award season begins on Sunday with the 82nd Annual Golden Globe Awards, honoring the best in film and television. The Netflix film Emilia Perez leads the race with 10 nominations, followed by The Brutalist with 7. The Bear leads television series with 5 nods, followed by Shogun and Only Murders in the Building with 4 each. The nominations were announced on December 9th by actors Morris Chestnut and Mindy Kaling. This year's ceremony will be hosted for the first time by comedian Nikki Glaser.
I'm feeling really good about the job that I have to do, the material I've written, that my team has written. I feel like we're just in good shape. I'm really excited just to show these jokes to a massive audience. It's really I've been working on this art project that I'm I can't wait to show people.
Some of the nominated films include A Complete Unknown, Conclave, Anora, Challengers, and The Substance. Timothy Chalamet, Selena Gomez, Ariana Grande, Angelina Jolie are among the stars vying for acting honors. The ceremony is especially significant for India, as Payal Kapadia's All We Imagine as Light has received 2 nominations, including Best Director for Kapadia, marking the first nomination for an Indian production.
On our show, the nominees from television, from movies, come together. They're major stars, and it's like throwing a party at your home. Who would you like to have at your house if you could have anybody? And we've got them every year.
Winners of the Globes are chosen by 334 entertainment journalists from 85 countries. Winning a Globe can boost a film's chances in the run-up to the Academy Awards in March. Diptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
Still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour. The Indian Space Research Organisation successfully demonstrates use of walking robotic arm. In sports, Lionel Messi addresses his absence from the Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony, citing scheduling conflicts. An international flower show begins in Western India's Ahmedabad, remain open for visitors until January 22nd.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the Economic Brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Abhishek Mahajan. In a significant milestone in space exploration endeavours, the Indian Space Research Organisation has successfully demonstrated its first robotic arm in space. Sharing a video, ISRO posted on X. RRMTD, India's first space robotic arm, is in action on board Poem 4, a proud Make in India milestone in space robotics. RRMTD was launched on PSLV C-60 alongside the SpaceX mission as one of the non-separating payloads on board POEM-4. It can be considered as an ancestor of the type of robotic arms that will be used on India's planned space station, the Bharatiya Antariksh Station. The success of demonstration validates ISRO's technology and will allow ISRO to move forward with the development of more advanced versions of this for use on BAS. With this achievement, ISRO becomes the 5th space agency to operate a robotic arm in space. Sports updates now. We'll start with cricket. Big heartbreak for India as they have lost the Border-Gavaskar Trophy after a decade with a 6-wicket loss to Australia on day 3 of the 5th and final test in Sydney. Australia chased down 162 with Travis Head and Boy Webster taking the team home. India lost the 5-match series 1-3. Resuming day 3 at 141 for 6, India lost their remaining 4 wickets for just 16 runs to be all out for 157 in their second innings. Pat Cummins and Scott Boland shared the wickets in this session, with Boland completing a 6-wicket haul and winning the player of the match. Meanwhile, Jasprit Bumrah becomes the player of the series with 32 wickets in 5 matches. With this victory, Australia have also qualified for the World Test Championship final against South Africa. All right, to talk more on this, we are joined by DD India's Naran Singh from the newsroom. Naran, India tried well. Bumrah didn't come out to bowl, which was the biggest setback. And also the target for Australia, you think, was below par of 162?
It was on expected line, and the target was also, we can say that was not, we can say that it was easy target for the Australia, considering the fact that in the morning we saw that India's on third day on the first session, the way Indian batsmen were folded out for just 16 runs in 7.4 overs. So that was, we can say that the batsmen could have done somewhat more and added few more runs. Definitely that was a very, we can say that a paltry target for the mighty Australian team. And the absence of the Jasprit Bumrah, definitely it was a big setback for the Indian, and we know that without Jasprit Bumrah, the India's bowling lineup, we can say that diminishes to around 60 to 70%, and it was totally reflected in the bowling performance of the India, the way they started, and after that Prasidh Krishna took few wickets, but it was not enough for the India to be there in the match. And all over, we can say that the way things started throughout the series, India played some exceptional cricket too. It started with the Perth, and then in MCG2, India has the chances. They played few sessions very good, and after that, towards the end, they couldn't capitalize the things. And definitely here also, India has the chance in this match also, but after the injury of the Jasprit Bumrah and the way our top order failed, Shubman Gill and the way KL Rahul, Virat Kohli, all we can say that was not up to the mark, was the basic reason behind this loss, especially the Border-Gavaskar Trophy. They could have retained if they would have won this match, and also their chances, we can say that for the WTC was also there if they would have won this match, but everything we can say that went into smoke with this loss.
Absolutely, but all credit to Australia, the way they played and won the Border-Gavaskar Trophy. In fact, reclaimed the Border-Gavaskar Trophy after 2014-15, that is after 10 years. We'll leave it at that. Thank you for your inputs, Narayan. Star footballer Lionel Messi has addressed his absence from the Presidential Medal of Freedom ceremony, citing scheduling conflicts as the reason he couldn't attend. The soccer legend, who was among 19 honorees celebrated by President Joe Biden, shared that he was deeply honored to receive the recognition. Argentine World Cup champion Lionel Messi was notably missing from the ceremony, sparking online chatter about his absence. However, his PR team later explained that scheduling conflicts and prior commitments had prevented him from attending the event. And the Ahmedabad International Flower Show 2025 has begun at the UNESCO World Heritage City of Ahmedabad in the state of Gujarat. This world-class flower show showcases a harmonious fusion of Indian culture with natural beauty. Here's more.
People in large numbers are visiting the International Flower Show in Ahmedabad. Started in 2013 by Prime Minister Narendra Modi, who was then the Chief Minister of Gujarat, this show has seen great popularity over the years. Organized at the Sabarmati riverfront, this show is an annual celebration of colors, offering a blend of visual splendor and exquisite flower displays. This show also gives out the message of sustainability.
Every year I visit, but this time I've heard it's really going to be something very extraordinary, and they have been planning since before Diwali. So I am expecting a lot, and I think it's going to be very nice. Today is just the second day.
You get to see so many varieties of beautiful flowers meant just for the winter season, and we are expecting a spectacular show.
It's a very beautiful experience and a glorious arrangement here.
This is our first time at the Ahmedabad Flower Show, and it's been a wonderful experience.
The scale of the event, the kind of flowers that they have put in, the kind of sculptures they have built, it just shows that they have put in a lot of efforts.
In 2024, the flower show attracted nearly 20 lakh visitors and also earned a Guinness World Record for its 400-meter-long flower wall. The show has been divided into 6 zones, featuring over 10 lakh flowers, more than 50 species, and over 30 sculptures. Symbolic statues showcasing India's economic progress, 23 years of governance, inclusiveness and sustainability, unity and diversity, hosting the Olympics 2036, Vasudhaiv Kutumbakam, and many more installations depicting India's culture and development have been put up at the show. Use of technology has enabled visitors to make use of specially designed audio guides to learn more about the flowers, sculptures and zones by scanning QR codes available throughout the flower show.
Here we had some visitors speak to us about their experience at the International Flower Show in the state of Gujarat, in the city of Ahmedabad. This will go on till the 22nd of January, and what will be at display is India's vibrant culture, heritage, and what India's growth journey has been. With my colleague Krishna Shah, this is Meghna Dev for DD India from Ahmedabad, Gujarat.
Well, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS. Scan the QR code on the screen to download.